Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's Liv, and today I'm just going to work, and you have, and you will likely just sit down and see me work, okay? All right. What I have to do today is actually kind of difficult, and I'm not entirely sure about some of the implementation details. I'm just going to be looking at it as I go, okay? Excuse me. All right. So, what is it that we have to do? We have to replace the inlining hack with a proper solution, right? So, oops, inlining. Okay. So, I think I explained the gist of this before, but the idea is that we have this inlined attribute, this inlined code attribute, and basically does some basic processing of the uh, subroutine that we pass in, right? So the way this works is that when you declare a subroutine and you give it the inlined attribute, this function will be called, right? And so we can use this to do some processing of the code and save that processed output up out to a file that we can later read in order to perform the inlining. Now, the way that we dump these contents into a file is actually kind of cool. We're doing using an init block, right? So when all of the inlined subroutines have already gone through this method, and the so when the compile phase is over, so to speak, and the program begins execution, this will be called. And dump SBL is it's simply a function that reads through the table that we've created, the symbol table that we created, and it just collects the data that we need and dumps it to a file. It's basically what it's doing, right? So not quite a lot going on in here, and I might be deleting this part of code, or I might be deprecating it and then deleting it. But still, it's no excuse to have improper error reporting, right? So, okay. So anyhow, now the problem with this is that in order to get the code of the subroutine, we're using the parse method, right? And like I explained last video, the parse doesn't give you the code as you wrote it, okay? So it gives you the code after after compilation, so to speak, right? And that's actually kind of cool. It's nice, just looking at all of the dirty tricks that Perl uses. Uh, but I'd rather modify the code myself first and then have it be compiled, okay? So, right, so this is a pre-processing step, okay? So, and so what we have to do basically is get this this code that we want to process, get it from somewhere else, okay? And I've already sort of solved this. Let me just, oops. I've already sort of solved this in the way of writing a new parser, okay? And this one reads a file whole and does some fun processing with it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna find every attribute block that matches a given attribute, okay? So every block attribute every block attribute field, let's say, that matches the keyword inlined. Okay, so I should actually compile this, but right, so it's just for demonstration, so it doesn't matter quite so much. Okay. All right, so I think I showed you this last time, but let's just do it one more time. Just run that, and there we go. We have the code here with us. Okay, so well, here we seem to have a little bit of a problem, but I can fix this later. But anyhow, for all of the other functions, you see that we basically get the code as it is. Okay, and what we want is to take this code and just paste it, right? Okay. So there's a couple things that we need to do. First and foremost, we need to strip the returns. Or I could just split them in source. It wouldn't make a difference, but just to be nice, okay? So I can do that actually. Let's just for shorthand, let's just take the tree block and alias it to a variable, right? So I don't have to write the whole path all over again. Okay. So what I can do is take the name of this is return, right? We take the first return. If we had multiple return statements, this wouldn't work, right? Because branch in will give us the first result, right? In that case, we will have to use branches in. But because I know these functions have just one return line, just one possible return directive, just fine. So I can get that and say my ret, and now I can collapse that, so to speak. Actually, I can flatten that branch. And what that should do is get rid of the return, right? And here we go. Okay. So basically, it takes all of the children of the node, it moves them up one level in the hierarchy, right? And replacing the place where the root used to be. If we pass this the keep root argument and set it to true, then as you see, the flattening includes the root as well. But in this case, we do not want the root, so we just do it like this. Okay. Undefined value. Give me a sec. If not defined ID, then actually we want to cancel this. Die the wasn't pass proper. Okay, so actually let's do that. No, wait, I'm sorry, I wasn't meant to say. Because it, right, because it has no return, right? I'm sorry, I was thinking of another bug, and I thought, I was surprised because I said, I know I squashed this bug. Why am I seeing it again? No, it's because one of the functions does not have a return statement. It's because of that. Okay. All right. So that's all right. I guess we could make it so these were a little bit easier, right? So we can say my reds and just say branches in return, this will give us a full array of every node within the current tree. And just so you know, the current tree will be each one of these, right? So each subroutine is its own tree, okay? And so we can take the current tree and find branches in that tree that begin with a return statement, okay? So we can take that, and if we use a branch in, it will return us the first match. But if we use branches in, it will return us a full array of all those nodes containing the return statement for a single tree, right? So for a single subroutine. And so what we can do is, for my red in reds, flatten the branch. And so if we have no matches, right, so if we're going to be using an if, we might as well use a loop, okay? Right? If we're checking for the existence of the keyword, we might as well do this with a loop and support multiple returns or no return at all, okay? And there we go. Okay, so fixed. Now, again, it seems that this one is not being parsed properly. I made some small changes to the tokenizer as of late, and thus I suspect this has something to do with it. I could fix it now, but it's not really what I want to do. Okay, so we'll just ignore it for now. Okay, all right, good. So the next thing we need to do is just assemble the code, so to speak, right? So this is why I've made it so the semicolon is included, because now we kind of need it, right? I don't quite remember what the function name was, but I know I have a function for this, so it is, I very much think it is flatten, but yeah, it is flatten. Okay. All right, so this would allow me to make it so to replace or rather not to replace, from the entire tree take a single string, okay? We don't really want to take in the name of the subroutine itself. So actually what we have to do, I guess, is take just just the children. Well, I could just add an argument so that the initial array is initialized not with the root itself but its children, and that would be the easier way to do it. So yeah, let's just do that. And by the way, let's just set up some defaults for the arguments hash. So max depth, right? So you see, because else I would have to check for this here, and it's kind of annoying. So let's just give it a default value of 36. Should be good enough. And I do have to say depth. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna pass it in as max depth, because I think it's a little bit more clear on its intent. And then we're also going to use keep root. Okay. And just using similar names for similar operations, that is just common practice, right? You don't really have to do it, but it's nice if you do. So because the default in a lot of methods is not to keep the root, I'm just gonna follow suit. Okay. All right. What we're gonna do is we're going to declare the array first, and if we keep root, right? So if we keep the root, we are going to actually handle no, handle walk array, let's say. Okay, so let's say args defaults, right? So just some docus, okay, and I'm going to replace the mentions of max depth for just the thing itself. Oh no, it's a little bit more clear if I do it like this. No, okay, that's just fine. We'll leave it as it is. Okay. And why do I need the root in here? I don't. It's not in use, thus we can strip it. Okay, nice. Okay. So if we keep root, then we just push into leaves the root itself. Okay, so that would be the node that made the call, right? So for practical purposes, that would be considered the root of the tree, even if you know, it's not the actual root, right? It might have an ancestor, but you know, just we are assuming it is, just for the practical effects of the function. And else, what we're going to do is just push. Sorry, we're just going to push the children of our root, okay? And obviously, if it does not have children, because we are iterating through this array, if the array is empty, we will not iterate and we will return an empty string, okay? It's fine? Okay, good. So, as you can see, this is not that difficult. And let me just move this thing in here so I can actually, whenever I tab out, just see if, you know, the recording time and all of those things that I'm interested in. So anyhow, because yeah, I do make long videos, but I don't like making them longer than I have to, much longer than I have to. So okay, okay, so this should be that, I think. Okay, so let's just take the flatten and let's see what happens. Okay, so my string would have to be tree flatten. And I don't think we want to pass any arguments in here. Okay, so let's, oh, actually I want to print that out. Right? I'm on fire today, okay. All right, so there we go. And it is keeping the root, which is not what we want. Okay. So, oh, because I had to update, sorry. Okay, so just do a little update. Okay, and now it should work. All right, nice. And there we go. Now it does do this awful little thing where it includes the semicolon there. I suppose that we could arrange for the semicolon to be removed for inline functions themselves, right? So yeah, we could just take them out. So let's actually reach this out again. And so we get the tree and then the flattened version. Well, what we could do is, because we know that these are going to be inline, okay? And so it's just generally just a one-liner that we don't want to write over and over again, because, you know, maybe it's too verbose, you know, it includes doing something that it's not very fun to write all the time, and so we just want to put it into its own function and not have it to write twice every single, not having to write it every single time. Okay, so that is the purpose of this, and the idea would be that you would handle this sort of like you handle a macro. Not quite, but kind of, yes. Okay. So the idea with macros is that you say you do some operations in here, right? and wherever you write macro, this thing is passed, right? So you say macro 2, and it will say 2 times 2, right? So this will be replaced for 2 times 2, okay? And if you put a semicolon there, this will be replaced by 2 times 2 times times a semicolon. But yeah, that's kind of unexpected, right? Because you would usually write it like this. So yeah, you know, it doesn't feel so natural having to keep all these things in your mind as you're writing the code. This is why I am taking out the return, because I don't like, if a function is supposed to return a value, I feel it's better to be explicit about it. No, like, this is the behavior this thing needs to have. Let's be clear on it. And so the idea that I have is that you should be able to write a function as you would normally write a function, and then have the inliner handle all of these little things, right? So we can't, when we replace the name of a function for the code of a function itself, we can't really paste that return in there, because you might mean to just get the return value of a function, and do something else with it, and not return it from the function from which you are invoking the inliner. And so we do need to take care of that. So if you mean to return, what you would have to do is you would have to say something like return, like macro in your arguments, right? And if your function includes a return as well, then that return should be taken care of. So this kind of sanitizing code insanity, yes, it's just part of what we have to do. Okay, so just deal with it. So all right, I do feel like probably for this filter, let's call it a filter. It began as such, so let's just keep calling it that, even though it no longer is functionally. What we could do is just pop the last of these, okay? Now this is a dangerous game to play, because very much if we had a function that was not a one-liner, right? So if we had multiple multiple statements within our inline function, then it becomes a little bit more complex, right? Because now suppose that our function suppose that we pass it some number, and it does some operations with that number, and then return us the number plus plus. Say it does something like that. Well, we can't just alias the whole thing to just this, right? Because we need to consider this operation, but we can't just do this, because suppose that let's call this fn, okay? So for function, suppose that you want to say y equals fn, say 3, okay? Well, you can't just copy and paste this as it is, right? You can't do that, even if you take out the return. Kids, actually this would be returned by 3, right? So you couldn't do this, okay? So it would have to be something like this, right? So yeah, that gets slightly more complex. We'll handle that probably later, or maybe not, or maybe not. I mean, well, I don't have a multi-statement, multi-expression function in order to test this with, but I could just write one, right? I mean, it is something that I would like to handle. Okay, So let's try. All right. So the cool thing is, because we are just reading the file, we can just open the file and check whatever. Okay, we don't even need the. Actually, just to demonstrate this, okay, let's just create an entirely new file. Let's say I'm gonna put it in my home folder because I don't really want to. Wait, give me a sec. I think I have a test PM in my home folder, don't I? Oh, no, I don't. I think I don't. Okay. Okay, no problem. Well, let's just create one then. Okay. So this should be test PM, right? And so I'm just going to add the shebang just because, just so this is recognized as a Perl file. Even though it has the extension, I still like to do that. So okay, now let's just say package test. Okay, and this part is not strictly necessary, but you know, it's just nice to do. Okay, so just a little bit of this, even though this is not going to execute, it's still, you know, it's just good practice to always use this. Or at least, as far as I understand, it's good to do. Okay, so let's say fn, and we can just add inlined in here, and let's say it takes x. Okay, and let's just use the exact same example. Why not? So let's say that x times equals 2 it was, right? So x equals x times equals 2, and we return x plus plus, right? So 2 statements. So let's try that. We want to take we have to glob this. We want to glob home test PM, okay? So actually, let's try that. Let's see what happens. Yeah, 30. Okay, what? Oh, my bad. 42. Oh, my bad. I need to go package by package. Okay, so let's just because I was working with the same package with the same file. I just said okay. Zoom into the part where I have the package I'm interested in taking a look at, but actually we can just say for my package in tree branches in. Oh, actually we can just iterate the tree leaves, right? And why is that? Leaves, okay. So why is that? It's because of this hierarchical sorting we are doing, okay? So if I preach the tree out at this stage, okay, let me show you before the sorting. 44. Oh, my bad. Okay. All right. So before the sorting, what do we get? This thing is as it is. Actually, let me do a little modification in here. Okay. So a package test alt, let's say, and let's just copy and paste all of this. And okay, all right. So let's do that, and you can see we have both packages and every single statement like at the same level hierarchically, right? If we use the hierarchical sort, something interesting happens. Okay, so we get everything that's under the package declaration for this particular package, you know, underneath it. So if we want to iterate only the code that belongs to a particular package, we can just call that package explicitly, right? So same thing for this one. And so yeah, that's kind of what. Let me just delete this because I'm not really feeling like it. But yeah, we're just going to have one package. But yeah, we can do it like the way we should do it is kind of like this. We should iterate every package within the hierarchy, and then get the subroutines in that. Okay, so let's see what happens. And we do get our function. So nice. Okay. All right. So as you can see, this is actually not right. Okay, so what happened? What happened there? Okay, so now I'm intrigued. Now I'm intrigued. I must admit. Okay, it seems to me that something must be up with the tokenizer. Okay, because this was not happening like just a while ago. Okay, let's tell you what. Let's comment this out and this as well. All right. Okay, so it's right, but apparently when I flatten, things begin to break. Yep. Well, that's curious. Give me a minute. I suppose I should give this a different name. Just to be clear. Just in case that it really needs to check back with the original tree, right? Or that we need to reference it in any situation. I don't think it should make a difference, but you know, just something that popped in my mind. Actually, I need to go in here. Okay. Nope, same story. Okay, that's interesting. Let's do this. Okay, so let's preach out every ret and doing this. Okay. All right. So this is not quite right, because it should pop. It should be popping. Oh no, it is doing that, but for whatever reason, the return lingers. Huh. Oops. Right, so it does take care of the return, but for some reason it's still there. And it is consuming this line as well. Oh. I don't get it. This is not the way I wrote that function. This is not the way I wrote that function. Well, let me just revise it. So keep root is not the default, right? Well, this is curious. You know, it comes a time in the life of every programmer where the function you thought worked the way it had to You realize it really doesn't. You realize it really doesn't. So yeah, we're gonna have to debug this, okay? It's fine by me. Okay, so first and foremost, it should not keep the root, right? So, but that's supposed to be the default. And the default is not working. So this is actually quite astonishing. Could it be that it has no parent? I do not think that is the case. Let's do it like that. Let's just check this out. And it looks the way that it's supposed to look, right? And it should consume these two and put them in here. But rather than that, it's leaving nothing but the root. So this is quite strange. If I commented this out, then all of a sudden it does work. So I believe it must be that it's working through. It's lacking an index traversal. Okay, I get it. That must be it. Because we are relying on the indexes of every node being correct. Okay, and that means that we must do a traversal, so index trap, and basically that goes node by node, and it ensures that that whichever node comes. How can I explain this? So we have to iterate through the children of the node. We have to iterate through the children of a given node, and for every children increment this variable and assign it the value itself. And so because sometimes you shuffle the children around and they wind up with an index that was not the index they really have now. So this real solution actually is to not utilize the system at all. In reality, what we should do is sort of have like an array of telling us which slots in the child array are available, and then whenever we do a swap, we have the nodes swap indexes as well, and things like that. So yeah, this system is actually flawed. But right, so just to do this today, let's try doing that, placing that index traversal in there, and let's see if that changes something. And 959, and I must have written oh okay, and you okay. All right, so yeah, that was that. It was a bad index traversal. Okay, all right. So now comes the other question, and actually we actually have to do this before we flatten the branch. So that would be in here. So the way it has to be is that when we have multiple statements that need to happen within a sequence, it should be statement, the first statement, and that should be the input, sort of like the input to the second statement, right? Something like that. And so in this example, what we would wind up with is something along the lines of x to the power of 2 plus plus, right? So this is what we would be returning, minus the semicolon, but I just added because I'm used to, right? I'm used to terminate things with semicolons. What can I say? So okay. This would be okay. Now it would be a problem if we had any local variables. In that case, yeah, that would be not very nice. In this case, we would have to create a scope. Like that's the only feasible way of doing it. Right, for whichever reason. Like if this were a state, right, then we can just, I suppose, keep it somewhere else in memory and just increment it. But now I don't think so. I really don't think so. I would just not encourage usage of this, right? So it's not, because having a static variable unique to a given subroutine. Well, I mean, we could have it somewhere in global scope, and then it would be accessible from anywhere. Well, those are details I will have to think about later. But suppose we have a plain variable. Now, the only feasible way to have this be inlined is to create its own scope, right? Because else, every time you call this, you'd be, trying to create this variable, which, yeah, that's not the idea. The idea would be it has to be within its own scope. Furthermore, I love saying that. Furthermore, we would have to probably give it a different name, right? Because suppose it's like a really common name, like Y here, and supposing you're just iterating through a two-dimensional array, and you've already used Y. Like, yeah, it's not fun if you paste some code from some Argentinian kid's inliner, and then yeah, and now your code doesn't work all of a sudden. Yeah, redeclaration, hidden redeclaration is not fun. So what we should do actually is just give this some wacky name, like, I don't know, like some really random string, and something like that. Actually, I would do something like inline the function name and the name of the function there, and the name of the variable there, and that would be more or less all right. But yeah, that is a problem we have to solve. But yeah, I think I have enough on my plate as it is. Let me check the time. Okay, so and actually, let's just do it the way God intended. Okay, all right. But that's not what I want. I want the date actually. So date. Okay, give me the hour. So how do you get just this? You know what? Let's check. We need our man pages. Okay, so just something real quick I want to check. So I want the hour, but I also want minutes, right? Hour minute. Okay, so R. So can I do because then I can just alias that, and that would be the better way. Nope. Now I have to do it maybe like this. Nope. Yeah, but the thing is, I want a space in there. Okay. Can I? Oh, I have to put. Right, there we go. Okay. So 22, 22. And yeah, I have to fix the hour on my phone. That's fine. Okay. Okay. So 22, 22. I've been recording for about 45 minutes. Actually, exactly 45 minutes. And I have a lamp going directly to my face, and it's killing me. Alright, so I have to push her. Anyhow. So we do need to get this effect, right? So statement one, statement zero, statement one, right? So first statement and second statement, and so on until we get the final expression. Unless we have so many expressions, we find it the only way to do it is to create, to just create a new scope and be done with it. In that case, suppose we are assigning some variable to the inline function, right? What we would have to do is replace this with this, open up a scope, and somehow resolve that v has to be equal to whatever the inline function returns, right? So I would suppose that here we would just paste the contents of this, and wherever the return is, we'll just say b equals, right? And and yada yada, whatever goes in here. So that is one way to do it, and give me just a second. Because the lamp is just hitting me in the face. It's annoying. Okay. So, alright. That doesn't... Yeah, the lighting here is bullshit. The lighting in this room is bullshit. Let's try that. How is that? Okay, so you almost cannot see my face, but that's fine. It's not like the important thing. Oh, and that's my microphone, by the way. See this? This is my microphone, right? So I just put like a cloth in here so that it doesn't pop so much. It still pops a lot. So, yeah. Okay. I don't want you to see it. Anyhow. Okay. So there's lots of things to take into consideration. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have a little drink. Okay. I'm just gonna have a little drink right now, and yeah. I'll try to think a little bit better about this. Nice. So that's beauty. That's beauty. Okay. So now the problem here is, oh, actually, I solved that just now, right? Oh yeah, I did solve this. Right. Okay, so we have the thing flattened, and it's flattening all right. Okay. So what we have to do is just organize this in such a way that we can find how can I explain it? So we need to work at this backwards, right? We need to see what the function is returning, okay? And then we need to find any statements that are associated with what the function is returning, okay? So here I can cheat. In this case, I can cheat and not do that finding programmatically, because I know that I'm returning X, okay? I'm returning X and some operation. So in this case, I'm going to cheat, okay? Later on, we'll do it. We'll find these things programmatically. But just for the sake of finishing this video today, this particular thing I am going to cheat, okay? So it would, however, mean that we can't really allow multiple returns, not easily, because remember, we do have to paste this into whatever this function is being called, right? Because we have to do that, it becomes too difficult to try and how can I say this? Trying to do just to allow just anything to happen within the function, it means more and more and more analysis and code the transformation that we need to do. So yeah, it's mostly just for short snippets, right? Anything much longer than a few lines is not a good idea for inlining. Okay, so let's just be clear on that. Still, just as a mental challenge, right? I like the idea. But suppose we have a conditional in here. If x I don't know, greater than 2, we return something else. I don't know, say return 0, something like this. Oh. Like this. Like we can convert this, but it would be more difficult. We would have to do what I talked about of basically saying wherever we have b equals fn and some value, say, what we have to do is cut this and add a new scope, right? And in here paste this. Okay, and then separately solve all of the return values. Okay, and so we would have to solve this thing first. Okay, so we would have to say my inlined fn x equals, and actually it would be no. Okay, if we're assigning to x, we don't need to rename because x is a parameter, it's an argument. And so whatever name you pass this, it will be replaced. And so but that would mean we cannot pass a constant, which is problematic. So no, we would need to have it. Okay, so I would do my inlined fn x. I don't think I can start a variable name with an underscore. It might be bad. It might be not permitted. What the hell? Let's just do it. No, let's not do it. Okay, so let's just simplify this just for the sake of simplification. Okay, and if this is greater than 2, okay. And so what we would have to do is, if this is so, then b is 0, else we would have to add the else, right? Then every return will return for b equals, right? something like this. I can do that, but again, it would take me a while. Okay, so for now, it's possible to have multiple returns, but for now, yeah, we're gonna do just a single one. Okay. So, I suppose the first thing we need to do is add the declaration of the argument itself. Because in the case that we have this kind of thing of assigning to it, this is something else we have to look for, okay? Right, because if we pass in here a 9, then and we replace every mention for 9, like this is not going to work, right? So if this is assigned to, then we can no longer, because remember, we have to paste this into we have to inline this, and so if we are doing modifications to this, yeah, it's not going to work, okay? And so I suppose the best thing to do is to take the list of arguments and see about it. Okay, let's say my args equals an empty list, and if block args, and yes, we do have this thing already there. Okay, actually I can just say length block args. If we have this, then let's say that first and foremost I want to get rid of the parentheses because we do not delete those. So let's just get rid of that right now. So it should be begin any amount of white space, this thing, any amount of white space, single line global, and same thing for the other parentheses, and here it would be end. Okay, all right. So block. Actually, let me just copy it so I don't modify the thing. So let's do arguments. Let's do that replacement, and then args equals split at any amount of white space, comma, any amount of white space. All right, and yeah, arguments. Okay, and so that should give us the full list. Okay, and so we would need to find every mention of that. Okay, so let's recurse first. Separate this. Now in here, let's actually find every mention. Wait, I'm just going to make sure that I actually have the damn thing. Join comma args. Okay, and it should give us just okay, yeah, and it gives us the right value. So we take x, and we need to find all mentions of x. Okay, so every branch in, and then we can see if the x is being assigned to. All right. We actually want to, well, if we do branches in, we do get when it's the first thing. Then if the next thing in line is an equals, we know it's an assignment. Okay, so we can cheat a little. We can cheat a little. But I actually would need a a regex that matches any of the values in args. And actually I can do that. So that would be args re equals, fuck. Okay, so I actually need to sort by length. All right, so that should be sort, and let's just open up a scope for this, and it should be that length of A is greater, or is it less than? No, I think it's greater than length of B. Okay, we take that from args, and what we do then is we put all of this as a list and say join with a with an alternation. Okay, and so now we can QR that. Okay. Nice. You see? You see that? You see that? Okay. All right. So I do want to make it so it is the only thing. So I do have to say begin and end. Okay. All right. And I guess there's no harm in oh no, no. But I will make it a non-capturing group. Okay, so just to see if it works. Just to see if it works, because I was wondering this. If you have a non-capturing group inside of a capture group, do you still capture anything? You know, it's one of those philosophical questions that I never thought I wanted a argument. So mentions of arguments. So this is one of those philosophical questions I never knew I wanted an answer to. Okay, so for my mention in argument, and now let's just do this. Actually, I can do last. Okay, so I think that's cleaner. This is a note, so I can just bridge it. Okay. Aha! I need to mine this again. Alright, so I did mine this. 79. Oh, because I arg3. Okay, there we go. Oh, come on. Okay, so it found nothing, which is wrong, so I take it that means I cannot capture a group like that. Okay, so that's still nothing. Let's just print out the regular expression. Oh, I guess I could. I guess I could just wrap it, can't I? Because I am doing an alternation. There we go. Okay, so that was that. Okay. Yeah, for whichever reason, if you don't wrap it like so, it wouldn't work. Okay. Okay, so we get all mentions of this, but now we kind of need to get the. Oh no, we are not getting any mentions. All right. Okay, so why is that? Because maybe the first branch has not. Oh no. No. Right. Are you fucking with me, my friend? Are you fucking with me, my friend? Okay. Alright, so I would suppose I actually need to do this, and I can explain it, but yeah. Let me just get the regular expression real quick, and then I can explain it, okay? Because if I have to talk while I code, it really does slow me down. But okay, let's see. All right, so I need to have that that $ escape. I think that's the problem. But the Q, oh no, the Q does work. I just have to assign. Okay, so I'm going to explain the map in a second. Just all right. There we go. Nice. Okay, so as promised, I'm going to explain the map. So what map does is it takes like a code block, in executes that for every element in an array, something like that. Okay, and arg is just an alias for this, which would be like the first argument you've just received. It has other uses than that. It's kind of one of those cryptic things about Perl. Yeah. So yeah. And well, and same thing for the sort, right? So sort works in a similar way. You get you pass it like a block, and for every element in the array, it executes that block, you know, to decide where that element stands. And so the idea here is that we want the longer element to come first. And why is that? Because if I have two arguments and one of them is XX, okay, if one of the arguments is XX, then, you know, a mention of XX would match X, but it would not be XX. Okay, so is that confusing yet? Let's say it's XY, right? So if we are looking for XY, but we encounter, if we are looking for X, right, but we match XY, right? Like if we allow for XY to be matched, then yeah, no, we'll match XY and not X. And so it has to be ordered in such a way that the longer one comes first, right? And so if we want to match XY, it will be the first. Now if we did it the other way around, and we want to match XY, but X is first, you know, this will match, right? And then the Y is just left in there, and that's no good. So yeah, we kind of have to do that. All right. So okay, nice. We have every mention of the thing. What I want to do now is make it so I only consider those that have that actually have children. So I'm going to do another map. Now actually I don't know if this is going to work, but let's try. Let's say arg if arg leaves. All right, and we actually do have to dereference this. Okay, so we accept the argument if the argument has leaves. All right, let me say mentions. All right, so 0, yeah. Like yeah, it's just gonna give me an even-sized one. So you know what? I would actually have to filter this somehow. There must be a better way to filter this out. But I can think of it, so I'm just going to do it with a loop. Okay. So my attempt, it's going to be nothing or might mention, it mentions. Well, now that I think about it, I could just do the map. No, but I mean, okay, listen. If I'm going to be checking, if I'm going to be doing an if inside of a loop, if I'm going to be doing an if inside of a loop, then I might as well do an if inside of a loop. Okay. So next, if mention has no leaves. Okay. That's clear now. Okay. And there we go. Right. Sometimes your mind goes to, yeah, I know this cool way to do it, but then you realize, yeah, like there's an easier way to do it. There is an easier way to do it. There is a clearer way to do it. And so next if, right? Beauty of Perl. Tim Toe. There is more than one way. Okay. So right. We have every mention. Now we have to check that if the mention if the first value of the mention is an equal sign, right? So actually we can do that. If I think it's lead value 0. So I can actually just cheat all the way through. Okay. Right. And that's that basically. Now, because this is not code that is executing, I can actually just change things around, and with a minus, it wouldn't print out. And just so you can see like the full code, let's just print out the branch. Right. So, hey, what? Oh, because okay. So let me just show you real quick. We actually do have to register operators in order for them to be recognized. Let's just do it like real quick. And yeah, the priorities are all over the place because I'm not 100% sure what the priorities are for Perl operators. I have no idea, so I'm just swinging it very much. Okay. Right, and I do have to update. All right, and so now it's recognized. Okay, so yeah, this is the langdefs, the language definitions for Perl. If an operator, if a sequence of operators is not within the operator table, it's not recognized as an operator. Simple, right? So yeah, that's basically what. I do not have all of the operators listed because I haven't done much with much processing of Perl itself yet. So yeah, I have not been paying much attention to that. But yeah, as you can see, now the first element is a minus, and the branch is not listed. Now, if I change it to an equal signs, now it's listed. And so we have a way to find out, at least to halfway find out, to find out if the variables that if the arguments are being assigned to. In the case that any of them are assigned to, what we have to do is actually change their name, which I shudder at the thought, but well, what you gonna do? Well, if a single mention of the argument is being assigned to, that means we have to change its name, right? So how do we do? Like, I would like to do it within a single loop, but it's kind of difficult because we need to find out the list of arguments that are being assigned to first, right? And once we have that list, we can say, okay, so every mention of these arguments that are being assigned to, just for safety reasons, we have to give them another name. And so we replace every mention of that argument within the tree itself. We change it for something else. Could we do it for every argument just to play it safe? Yeah, but it's more processing, right? And so suppose now we are doing this for a single function, so it doesn't matter. But suppose we were doing it for an entire project, right? Not so fun, right? Yeah, I don't want to do additional processing if I don't have to. That's like still like this is an interpreted language. Like the performance has its limits. I know that. But yeah, the more performance we can squeeze, the better, right? This is why we are inlining functions in the first place. So yeah, we sort of have to be consistent about our rules. So let me just have a little drink. So now the one question that pops up in my head, right? So, um, just letting you know, whenever I answer a question, it's not because it's being directly asked to me, it's because it pops up in my head and I say, yeah, this is a valid question, I should address it. So the question that pops up is, why do this at this stage? We are not inlining the function yet. Why think about how it is going to be inlined? Well, essential, my young apprentice, uh, essential, my young apprentice, knowing the way that the function needs to be inlined. If we already know that, then whenever we encounter, right, whenever we encounter a mention of the function, if we already have enough metadata about the inlining technique that we need to utilize, then it's less processing at the time of replacing, right? Because yeah, we could do the processing every single time whenever we encounter the function call, but that wouldn't be as effective. So what we want to do is decide what the inlining technique for a particular function will be before we even go out and find the mentions and start doing replacements. Because if we build that inlining technique just once, then we only need to rebuild that whenever the file from which we took that definition is updated. Okay, and so here is you see here in the update that I run, you see that it doesn't update the entire project. It only updates the files I changed. Well, the same thing goes for this. We would write these symbol metadata to a file, and then we only need to consult that file in order to decide how we are going to perform the inlining. Well, that file would be updated in the same manner, only if its dependencies change, okay? So only in that case. This is a bit of a bit of a GNU make mambo, okay? They're kind of fun. All right, so it's been about an hour, if I'm correct. Let's see. Okay. So yeah, it's about 11 p.m. That's not good. But okay. Right, tell you what. Because I'm going over time here, so let's just look into doing these few modifications, and you've already gotten an idea of how messy this entire work is. So yeah, I'll just power on through, and whatever is left, I'll handle it off screen, right? So nice. Okay. So we have every mention. We actually need to make a second array. So args design, I would call it args as, but that's that wouldn't be nice. You know, args as. Okay, I could call it ASG, right? So that's my nod. Okay, so I need to push to args ASG. Actually, no. Let's make it a hash, right? And let's just say that args ASG args ASG at it should be mention value, right? So it should be the name of the variable itself. Because remember, we are searching for branches that that have this structure, right? Of name of var, right? And then its in its children an equals. Okay. For now, we are doing only the first child. This could change, right? If we had something like this, name of other var, right? If we had this, we would also need to do the name change. But just for now, just to keep it simple, right? So the corner cases in Perl are unending. That's just the rule of thumb. Why do I do things, right? Anyhow, for now, we are doing it the hacky way. We're just putting it together real quick and seeing what happens. Okay. So we append to this hash, and so now we can say for actually let's say my var name, or actually my arg name, in keys of args assignments. All right. So now, now, yeah, like I get it, right? I do get it. This is messy. This is messy. We are having to filter things out. There might be a smarter way to do it, and I will look into those optimizations off screen. Okay, right? I will do it, but not right now. You know, just keep that in mind. Because you know it's already been an hour and a half almost. If I try to do that as well, we'll be here all day. So okay. Now, right, so I need, actually what I would have to do is just find every mention of the argument name, okay? So we need to do kind of the same thing we did here, but instead of looking for every single variable, well, I guess we could. I guess we could look for every single variable. I will be repeating myself, that's just inevitable, okay? But yeah, why not? So I could write this from this, right? So I could do that. So yeah, this is completely against the dry philosophy. So that's don't repeat yourself, you know. DRY, dry, do not repeat yourself. Don't repeat yourself. Um, Here, just for brevity, I am going to repeat myself, just to be quick about it. because now we need to do the exact same filtering, but this time for the arguments that are mentioned and assigned to. Okay. So now with that filter, applied, you can say once again mentions and take the arch3. Okay. Arch3. Okay. And so for my mention, once again, for my mention in argument, and this time we do not care to look only for those that have leaves, right? So this time I want to iterate through every single mention, okay? And at the end, let's print out the branch. So what we want to do is let's just click this key equals the value of the mention, and now key would be equal to I want this thing, actually let's do it like this, dot, let's say inline, and I need the function name, and that's the ID. So perfect. Right. Oh no, without a new line, sorry. Okay. And that may work. Let's try. Okay. Not quite. I actually need to do this. Okay. Okay. All right. But we have to get rid of the sigil. Not that much of a problem. We can simply do key replace, simply take beginning and say, okay, so it should be this, or this, oops, or this, any number of times, at least once, right? So if it doesn't have a sigil, it's not a valid argument, right? So we do not accept var-word arguments, and so, right, okay, let's try that. And not quite. UST maybe. Are you screwing with me right now? Do I actually have to escape this? I don't think I do. I do. You know, this is the crazy thing about regexes, right? You never know. You never know when you have to change things like this, so that's kind of annoying. But anyhow, what I would like to do now is actually declare this, right? We would have to create this, right? Or I suppose we could make it so the first mention becomes a my, right? We could do that. Like if it's the first time we are assigning to it, then it's all well and good. Huh. But no, it's not safe. It's not safe to do that. So actually, what we would have to do is add to it. So I would need the ND frame, and I can get that through the parser. So I need to add a new node to the. I have to add a new node to the tree. I could do it without it, but what the hell, right? I mean, I could just add things like after I flattened the tree, I could just add a like a string, right? So add it in a stringified form. But where's the fun in that? Where is the fun in that, right? So yeah, let's just get the frame. And frames, once again, and I always explain this because it's just not something most people will be familiar with. It's not the most orthodox way to go about this kind of problem. But suppose that you have an array and you have some objects here, right? So instances of a class, okay? And all of these objects share a common context, okay? So there is like certain variables that are common to all of this, okay? So what do? You make it so it's just, you know, like a single global var, right? Let's say, yeah, let's say gvar. That's a variable that's common to both of these objects, right? So I don't know, some context value, some context data, right? Some global state that affects only, right? So not actually global, right? So a value that affects only these objects, okay? You could make it a class variable, right? But what if you have multiple? What if you have multiple arrays of objects, and the context variables for this group of objects is not necessarily the same as the context variables for this group of objects? Well, now if you make it a class variable, you're screwed. So what do? Well, anytime you want to create a a, a context, together with that context, you create a copy of these variables, right? So it's basically like its own class, okay? So think of it as a container, all right? So where with class attributes you would have this, right? So one variable and two contexts. Now you would have at the top of the context, you would have the variables and then the instances, okay? So think about it that way, right? So it's just a container for numbers. It's basically that. It's just an array with a bunch of numbers. And that's what it always comes down to, by the way. Anyhow, so we have the frame, and through the frame, we can create new instances, all right? So it serves those two purposes, holding context information, and from the context information, creating new instances, okay? So that's the frame. Okay. So, we were here. Okay, so we have to add for each one of these mentions. Actually, no, for actually for each key. For each key, we have to add the modified version. Okay. Well, what I could do is, and for my keys, just copy and paste this really quick. All right, and now I want to let's just print this out right now, and I will get to doing it the right way later on, but just to get started with this, right? So we know we are assigning to this somewhere, so I guess doing it like this, it's fine. We'll just keep it as on def, just in case I messed up. Okay, so n and exit. Okay, actually I can do less. Okay, all right. So my x on def, but I do need to add this part. Okay. All right. So and we need the dollar sign. Okay. So, oh, actually, I should capture, right? So I should capture the sigil. Okay. So my sigil equals capture here, and suppose I should say that if it's not defined, this thing should croak. Actually, it should. When I pass it into a package, it should croak right now. So it stands now. It should die. Can't match sigil. And yeah, this code is about to get a whole lot more repetitive because I am going to copy and paste this as always. Okay. Let's put another separator there. Okay. Here I have to put the sigil itself, and let's take a look. And nope, didn't work. So it worked in one place but not in the other, so that's kind of interesting. Oh. Okay. All right. So I think we can get rid of this original bridge. Okay. Okay. So this is the way it would work. We would have the declaration first, then the assignments, and then we return. Right? So straight up, pretty simple. Pretty simple. I think actually what I'm going to do is just use the standard out. I'm going to do it the lazy way and use standard out for this, okay? And then we'll just redirect that and happy times, whatever. Because else I have to manually open a file, and it's not something difficult, but yeah, it's a chore. So I'm not gonna do that. just now, just to get it done quick, and later on I can be a little bit cleaner about this. So okay. And yeah, and by the way, this is not syntax checking, right? This is not syntax checking. Okay, so just putting that out there. My preprocessor does no syntax check. So you just right. You have to write your code right. You have to write your code right and hope for the best. We can add some syntax checks later, but for now, no way. No way I am doing both things at once. I mean, it's too much, man. Like what's a valid Perl syntax? It's so friggin' complicated. I feel there's no point in trying, because I mean, Perl can already tell you if your syntax is valid. So yeah, why try and change? That is a wheel I am not willing to reinvent, right? Some wheels I am willing to, some others I'm not. Just putting that out there, it's a little bit too difficult, I have to admit. But anyhow. So, now what we should do... There is a problem. There is a problem, actually. Because remember what I was talking about of having to open up a separate scope. Well, what if the function is being called within an if block, or within a while, right? Or I don't know, within a for, right? What if this is returning you a list, and that's for a for loop? Well, in that case, you would have to take the thing out of here. Okay. Then I suppose what you would have to do is say you have here a call to a fan, a call to a function. What you would have to do is let's do this complete. Okay. Someone is banging on the floor, and I don't think it's appropriate at this time of the day. Okay. So suppose you have this. What you do is you take this out, you put it in here, and you create a new scope, right? So you would kind of have to do this. So yeah, it becomes more and more complicated, right? It becomes more and more complex. Right, something like this. There's a little bit of like an onion thing going on, right? So yeah, it stops being textual substitution and it becomes something way more stupid. It stops being textual substitution and it becomes just something entirely different. So yeah, this is not easy. Anyhow, for now, let's just assume that doesn't happen, and let's just handle like the most basic strategy. All right. So my b equals a fen as some constant, and we replace this with okay. Actually, with the decoration itself. Then this thing, and b equals this. Okay. Are we clear? And so effectively it would be as if you had called the function, but not really, right? So okay. What was that? Okay. So shortcuts I didn't know I had. Okay. So I need to think, people. Stop banging on the floor. Man, I hate having neighbors. You know, I have neighbors with, they have like 7 little kids, and they're always screaming their fucking lungs out and making noise at 11 p.m. Mother of God, try to work. I hope you cannot hear that because it's annoying. My God. You little cunt. You know, I'm a drummer, alright? When I was, this was 8 years ago, I was 20 at the time. And I went off to study with a guy, like a really no, like a really skilled musician is what I meant to say. He was like a quite renowned drummer and percussionist, and well, he taught me to play the drums, right? Because I wanted to play like in rock bands and stuff. And one thing that I was made immediately overly conscious of was that whenever I played, everyone could listen, all right? Because that's just what it is. You play the drums, everyone, even if you don't want them to, everyone is going to hear at least a little bit of your drumming. And that does mean that you have to situate yourself in place and time, right? In space and time. If it's a Sunday at 5 a.m., you do not fucking play the drums. Likewise, if it's a Monday at 11:30 p.m. and people are trying to either sleep or work or whatever it is they're doing, maybe you're trying to read before you go to bed, and you start hearing someone drumming, yeah, that is a sign you are a fucking cunt. I don't care what age you are. You have to situate yourself in space and time. You have to. There is no alternative. If you do not know how to behave yourself in the most basic of respects, like what kind of human being are you? Like what future is there for you? None. None. Anyhow. Alright, tell you what. When these fucking cunts stop drumming their fucking heart out, I will resume this. But for now, I'm just too pissed off at everything. I'm not going to continue. Fuck you, neighbors, and this is the end of that. Sorry, I'm angry. I'm gonna end this right here. Goodbye.